Da dun down. Bum ba dun dun dun. Da 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 da. Gotta see if I'm live. Am I live? I'm live. Live, 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 live. But absolutely no one's watching. Excellent. Oh goodness, people. Now what do I do? Guess I'm gonna stream. Because I'm tired. I'm tired and filthy and annoyed, so I'm in perfect gamer mindset. Yeah. Ooh, I think Twitch is lying to me. The viewer numbers don't really match up with the user numbers. But really don't care. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Because I'm just here to play and chat and talk about politics, probably, and game design, so on, so forth. Let's turn that music down a bit. Please do tell me what the how the volume feels to you. I think I'm gonna turn it down a bit at my end. I think it's a bit high still. Let's see. It's really annoying that the when I exit the choose any other window aside from the game window, then it just pauses entirely and no music. Because I like the music here. Ooh, actually, I'll fill up my tea before I do anything. You get some tea ASMR. If my mic picks it up. I've drunk about a liter of tea today. I'm not sure if that's good for me. It doesn't really matter, because I've needed it. I've needed the tea. So I slept very, very badly. Very, very badly. Okay, not very badly. Just my sleep wasn't as long as I'd hoped. So that was a bit annoying. My tummy ached at night, and that is always unpleasant, especially when you're trying to sleep. Because I got plenty of aches and pains to begin with. If it's not one knee, it's the other. If it's neither of those, then it's going to be my back. For some reason, my neck and shoulders don't hurt that much. Or, well, that often. Fortunately. Anywho. Anybody in the chat tonight? Oh yeah, I forgot. Actually, I'll do some advertising. Well, I'll publicize my my stream on various platforms. Just a moment. I'm gonna spam it on like Fun with Fondue's Discord, for instance. I really don't know how to navigate this thing yet. The self-promotion. No, that's really not what I want to do there. Like, I don't want to copy and paste my stream key on a Discord server. That's not a thing I really would like to do. That's not a good idea. Try not to. Ooh. Hello, Walker. Ooh, there's lights. Christmas lights? I gather. It would be wonderful if it was fairy lights spread by unicorns. Where's the promotions? There we go. I've done what I set out to do. Okay. I've got my tea. I've got my water. And I've got my game, and I've got my chat. They're having several different lighting stuff at the Hammer Castle. Today is my friend's light design. They won a contest and we are going to go and see. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations to your friend. More like super cyber whoosh lights, I think, than normal Christmas lights. Wonderful. Because if you're going to do a light show, better make it cyber or cosmic. I've never really understood why one would do like a Christmas themed like light show with Santa and the reindeer and all that kitsch. Okay, aside from the kitsch, I sort of understand the kitsch, but aside from that, I don't really understand the aesthetic. But to each their own. So, I'm not sure how long I'll be streaming today, but then again, I never do. Just taking it easy. I feel like if I could actually write anything of substance, like stuff aside from like Twitch comments, I would be writing stuff about, well, disabled politics, or the politics of the disabled. I don't actually know the English term, what like vammaispolitiikka is, but that anyway, that's what I should be doing. But I know I'm not in a condition to do that. Hopefully, I'll play some of this, feel nice and relaxed, take a nap, write at night. I should have something written by tomorrow. But yeah, Let's load that up. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, we had a bit of an altercation in the game last time. Let's see what the logbook says. That's a good way to sort of warm up. Storyline. Fields of gold. Understandably, the other squires don't seem to like the first of our tasks. Thankfully, there's Celestian, who was used to it and became our topic of discussion. If not because of her, I'm sure I would have gotten more attention than I wanted. War. Now this is something I can do. Not that I've been in one, but anything practical isn't impossible to learn on the fly. I should start by learning how to, well, stay away from the front lines. It's a weird war, though. I've never heard of a blade bearer lending his sacred sword and the command of his army to another person entirely. Out of all the people I can meet in the world, why them? And why here, when I'm with the other squires? Oh, referring to the band of bandits that we encountered last time, who are from the same village as Isaac, or rather Reed. Although that actually shouldn't use that for Reed, because Reed is actually the birth name, or the given actual proper name of the of our character, who just took the life and the name and the title of Isaac Golden Lake. Out of all the people I can meet in the world, why them? And why here, when I'm with the other squires? Thankfully, with Francis away from the scene, it seems that only Gina knew who I am. Good thing I took care of her before Sir Lupin came. Oh, so that's why he killed her. Sort of. She could have complicated things. Yeah, I think she did. Siding with the villagers to hang them strengthened my image as a people person, as well as eliminated any potential risks. That was a good move. Let's hope my luck keeps up with this. We should bring the wheat. We should bring the wheat we've bought to Grenoble. Lord Severin will be there with the army to take it away. I hope he's not close to Lord Pascal. That way he won't be suspicious of me looking a little different. This is an interesting move from the because these are the thoughts of the protagonist, and he doesn't seem to really see any sort of problem here, which is in terms of executing Gina, someone he knew, someone who wasn't an enemy. She was just an inconvenience. That's not optimal. Okay, interesting. My Twitch seems to freeze up every once in a while. Let's see if I can do anything about that. Because I suspect I can't actually see the chat. And that's a bummer because I enjoy the chat. It's largely what I'm here for. Because this is the way I play the game anyway. The only difference here is really that goodness. I'll have to mute myself. There. Yeah. The only difference here is that I have an audience now, and I pause more often to comment about the politics and the game design and so on and so forth. Sort of voicing my thoughts. Anywho, yeah, he's he's much more cutthroat, judging by these diary entries than I thought he would be, because well, he does seem to have some sort of idea about the difficulties that the commoners face, which is a hell of a lot more than pretty much anyone else seems to have, aside from Ilian, who's a half elf and may have grown up in some sort of gift economy, and yeah, outside of the capitalist framework. But then again, this is sort of similar to the geek social fallacy, that just because I consider Reed or Isaac to be class conscious and to understand some of the contradictions of the situation he's in, or that the world is in, I presume him to be somehow ethical or moral, which knowing things and having a moral backbone, they don't necessarily mesh entirely. And we tend to have this, as a society, this desire to see experts as somehow moral, more moral than others, because they're educated and they know things. Talk about knowing things. Let's see, because last time I noticed that I really do need to warm up before going on and voice acting. I think I'll read some of the background. I've read Old North. Anything you particularly want to hear about? Let's see. Dawn's Edge. Well, I certainly haven't read this one. Dawn's Edge. Bordering the southeastern part of the Old North with the rest of the Queendom, is a dark forest home to many horrors told in children's stories. It is a maze of entangling roots and branches where hidden predatory eyes stalk one's every movement. The ancients of the Dawn's Edge do not possess higher intellect, such as those of the Old North, and are instead incredibly ferocious and deadly. They do not bow to the Summerlight Treaty, and it's unknown if they even understand it. Not many of them venture out of their territory, but those who do pose serious threats to the livelihood of the people of the realm. A point about the text: authors are, I believe, non-native, so they might not be pose serious threats to the livelihood of the people of the realm. Would indicate that they basically are there to steal their means of production or their crops or whatever. That it's property damage that they do. But of course, class conscious, so you never know. Actually, now I want to know more about the ancients, because this lore stuff isn't laid out quite as intuitively as one would hope. Cavern of Sylphs. where the grand flux flows under the great white serpent, is a cavernous passage that serves as the main gateway between the Old North and the rest of the queendom. Enchanted by the sylphs who inhabit its winds, one must adhere to a set of rules and fulfill specific whims of these creatures to be able to escape the trappings of their fey magic. As the sylphs only communicate through winds, deciphering their demands through cryptic breezes is far from a trivial task. Hello, Onkaloinen. Glad you could join us. Yeah, this is exactly why I need to warm up. Didn't do it last time, and then I wound up stressing about my elocution and pronunciation, as opposed to focusing on the voices of the characters. How Blaze Levant struck a deal with the sylphs to allow ships to pass through, marking the beginning of the human incursion to the realm, is unknown even to his successors. The answer may well have disappeared with his death. Interesting. So Blaze Levant is the pioneer of the Old North. And seen as a role model, sort of a charismatic leader, and the current lord, Alan, or Alan, is more of a sort of maintains the legacy, and is not as impressive a character. But yeah, of course, there's nothing about the ancients. Of course, there isn't. That would be too handy. I don't think I've actually. Yeah, I haven't read about the elves of Anon Taure, which I really would like to do, because Ilian has made interesting references, and I've speculated based on those references. Elves of Anon Taure. In the Old North there lies only one community of elves. They dwell under the shades and on the branches of Anon Taure, an enormous tree-like ancient at the centre of the fey enchanted Summerlight Gardens. Alike to the elves in Elenia and the mainland queendom, they are hunter-gatherers, taking as little as they can from nature to sustain their lives. It is a subject of debate whether the elves of Anon Taure are fully isolated from the elves of mainland queendom. The book Golden Wanderer spoke of Valinmore elves convening with others of their kin, among them the bright descendants of the north. This suggests that there is some kind of relation between the two clans, and perhaps with the others. However, as with other topics about the elven kin of the queendom, efforts to understand them have been met with secrecy and distrust. Elves of Anon Taure has no singular leader or anything resembling a governing body. Though it is perhaps some form of anarchy, the elves have established by themselves roles for each member of the society, where they perform a specific duty for the good of the whole. Such a utopian concept is understandably alien to most humans, and so there have been many theories on how such an uncontrolled civilization can function. Yeah, well, interesting formulation, this. Though it is perhaps some form of anarchy, the elves have established by themselves roles for each member of the society, where they perform a specific duty for the good of the whole. It's called anarchism. That's it. That's the whole point. That roles are negotiated according to abilities and needs. that's like the whole point. Because there is some debate whether anarchy and anarchism are quite the same thing. But yeah, I'm not sure if the author here is aware of anarchism as a concept. Most people aren't. Like a couple of years ago, I wasn't. And it's still seen as a dangerous catchphrase from punk songs. Anarchy in the Old North. Yeah, so my suspicion was correct. That when I said that the elves are communists, or rather live in a communism, those two things are actually rather different. If you live in live in actual communism, which is a stateless, moneyless, and classless society where everyone is actually equal and involved and people's needs are met, then you don't really need to be a communist anymore. Communist is basically someone who is trying to get the world to be like that. And the sort of it's been posited by like Kropotkin and who have you that you can't have communism, actual communism, without anarchy, or rather anarchism. But anywho, that's for someone who's read way more than I have. Okay, I think that's enough warming up. It's not gonna get any better just by sort of rehearsing. There's a point where you just have to stop rehearsing and have to enter the stage. So, we did go through the entire village here to... I think we entered every single house, looted every single thing. And equipped the loot. Oh, by the way, we have this active party. Actually, I think I'll change the party composition again a bit. Just for laughs. I think I'll bring in Reynard and Arya because we haven't had them yet. Yeah. There we go. We can always change them back if they're annoying. Well, Arya is always annoying, and it doesn't really affect any of the storyline. I think it just affects the combat. So if nothing else, you can always enjoy Arya getting hurt. Oh, new like stuff. Goodness. I have no memory of this. I don't remember anything about a burst. Well, let's check out what a burst attack is. Yeah, let's start with that one. Oh, okay. That was several hits. Let's see what does. Okay, Benediction heals all allies. Protection, gain shield, negates the next 3 attacks, or up to half maximum HP, and heals target. I, 3 , 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, I wanna see what protection does. I'll use protection. It'll probably like at immediate risk of death. And if someone does go down, as long as it's not Arya, she can bring them back. And death isn't like they, I think, are revived after each fight. If at least someone, like one, survives. But yeah, what do you do? Okay, Wild Axe has a chance to miss, but double damage. Rage raises attack damage and reduces Renard's defense. Frantic Charge, Renard loses half of his current HP and deals damage to target enemy based on HP lost. Okay. Lowers all enemies' defenses for 3 turns and raises their aggression to Renard. Okay, Provoke might actually prove useful. Wild Axe, that's not going to be very interesting. It's just double damage. But maybe Rage. Let's do Rage. He seems like a very angry sort of fellow. So let's let him do his thing. Yeah, now let's just attack. And attack here as well. Ta-da! And attack because he's got no stamina left. Oh, that's a nice bit of damage. He is the main damage dealer of the group. Wood and a broken bow. Pretty much as expected. Okay, then I think that gives them inflict bleed. Yeah. Okay, the burst attack wasn't all that. Okay, it did inflict quite a bit of damage. But I think Shatter might be a more flexible option. Especially with Renard on the team. I'll just attack. See how it goes. Dun, dun, dun. Let's just attack. Maybe I can get to... Oh, nice. And he's bleeding. He's bleeding. If I do that, then... Yeah, that won't help because together Isaac and Arya can't bring him down. But with Renard's help, we'll probably be able to bring that one down. Yeah, let's just fuck him up. Actually, I want to see. I want to see what Frantic Charge does. Can Frantic Charge bring down that one? Oh, one shot, one kill. Yeah, excellent. Oh. There's lag on the game which wasn't there before. Thanks for letting me know. Is it continuous? Oh, there's a box. Goodness. How do I get to the box? There's probably another... I haven't restarted the computer, for one thing. So if there's anything hogging resources, then yeah. Actually, what I'll do is I'll quit Discord. That might help. If that helps, good. If it doesn't, actually, I'll close some of my tabs here. Because they are unnecessary. Just leave Twitch up, because if there's a script somewhere doing something nasty, then. But anywho, shatter. Let's just do normal attacks and then charge that one. The did it get any better? Because my computer is fine, and I'm OBS doesn't show any dropped frames. Is there lag on my video? Actually, bloody hell, I can't see the chat now. Okay, okay, excellent. So it was apparently the browser or Discord or one of those. Actually, probably the browser. Okay, beasts. Renard is specialized in killing beasts. Let's just do shatter. Yeah, that one. And Aria attacks the same one. Oh yeah, I can't do frantic charge yet. Let's see what Wild Axe does to this one. I want to see how the... Oh. Oh. That might be useful, because the beasts are... well, rather beastly. Like the spiders do quite a bit of damage. Backstab. Oh. There's a lot of them. Okay, now I need to consider. Yeah, let's start there. Might be able to drop them before they inflict damage, because they inflict bleed. That, or they do the whetstone now that allows them to inflict bleed. I'll do protection now. No, I need to drop the motherfucker. Yeah, I'll try to drop him. Yeah, that should allow Renard to just finish him with a normal strike. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted at all. But yeah, at least Isaac can take him down. Yeah, no worries. I want to see if Renard can take out the middle one. And we'll focus on the archers. Because he can do frantic rage. Oh yeah. That is very satisfying. And we have Aria here as well, so she can always revive Renard if it goes badly. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, let's heal. Heal Renaud. How effective? Oh, super effective. Yeah, bring it down. That was sort of got into a routine here that I just end up doing Shatter with Isaac and then following up with other like stuff. Blammo. Critical hit. Broken bow. Shattered. Okay, new abilities. Wide swing, power surge, stamina boost. Let's see what's here. Wolfskin mantle. That sounds thematic. Okay. Let's see. Okay, wild swing. What does it do? Deals damage to all enemies. I think that might be more useful than frantic charge. Actually, I'll switch provoke for wide swing. Because the thing is, Renaud does a shitload of damage. So he'll probably increase aggression anyway. Let's see. Stamina boost. Is that the thing? Increases target ally's stamina by 3. That is really useful. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, this is a more difficult choice. Just a moment. Twitch wants to freeze up on me. And I'm worried that I don't see the chat. Yes, so, sometimes the chat sort of freezes up on me. I've seen that happen. Yeah, the stamina boost is a... Oh, excellent. Thank you, Ongolonen. Chat test successful. So the solution, of course, is for you to keep chatting and give me constant engagement. My numbers will love it. And depending on the content, so might I. But yeah, stamina boost is rather good. Actually, Ilian will eventually get an ability that... a passive ability that gives additional stamina on turn 1. Everyone has like 1 more stamina, which is a real game changer. But reviving is really useful. I think I'll switch out regeneration for stamina boost. Okay, what does power surge do? For Lucien. Deals minor damage and reduces target stamina to 0. That might be useful. Okay. I haven't used Body Perfection that many times because I've had other healers because there's Ilian and Camille and Arya that can heal. So it's almost guaranteed that there's a healer in the party. So I'll switch out Body Perfection for Power Surge, because that can be really good against tough enemies. I suppose. I guess. Because the game doesn't actually tell you anything about the enemies unless you use observation, and that causes you to miss a turn. So it doesn't really give you all that much benefit, especially since you could like do an sharpen bolts on them instead. It's not very satisfying to know what's gonna kill you if it's gonna kill you. I'd much rather like be ignorant and survive. Okay, Isaac doesn't have anything new. Arya doesn't have anything new. Yeah. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Camille had the concealed scabbard. That was a decent call. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, and they've respawned. Oh, well. Renard's gonna take care of them. Let's see if we can do something about that. I want to try burst attack on that one and then see if Renard can wild swing the other one to death. Wild axe. Sorry. Miss. You missed and you wasted 2 stamina. How dare you? How dare you? Whack. Wolf pelt and claw. I guess I'm gonna kill him anyway. Ah, Martunovo. Don't worry, you haven't really missed anything. I read up on some of the background information and that sort of thing, but aside from that, it's been rather quiet. I think I'll... And we haven't even had Lucien on the party, so just left the village. Some commentary on anarchism, but nothing aside from that. I think I'll just attack, see how effective our basic attack is. Not that effective. Sort of disappointed. Yeah, we waited for you. Yeah, you've earned it because of your... with the art of Sir Daniel's longsword. Was it Daniel? Yeah, or rather the elves live in a communism. Or in an anarchism. Or in an anarchist society. Interestingly enough. I'm gonna save up for the wide swing. So I'm gonna soften up these. Because I can take it. Oh, oopsie daisy. Now that was a waste. Never gonna get to use wide swing. tiny white crystal. So we can heal up at some point if we need. Oh yeah, there's that too. Oh, but forgot. I'm really bad at using consumables in RPGs. I tend to hold on to them way too long. It doesn't really make any sense. And that's why Renard is nice. Well, not nice, I suppose, but properly dangerous. Haven't chatted either of them. We've leveled up since. Maybe we can finish them up. Nope. Yeah, let's just give a whack. There we go. Me too, I usually hold on to the rare consumables till the game ends. And, Martinovo, I hold too, then wonder why I die so often. Yeah, that does happen. I have problems with the way consumables are often done in those games, where casting a spell takes time and effort, but potions don't. Like in Elder Scrolls, for instance, that you can use a potion for any ailment, including paralysis, without any sort of problem. But you can't cast a spell that does that away. So basically, that reaching into a pocket or a backpack or whatever, backpack probably, considering that you probably have dozens, if not a 3-figure number of potions, and then pick that up and drink it and have it take effect, and that's somehow faster than casting a spell. Considering that casting spells is like basically immediate when it's like a damage spell. It's really unintuitive. Sort of like gems. I have this problem about gems in RPGs. That the idea of gems is that they are more portable than gold. Because gold, silver, precious metals are rather heavy considering their value. So gems are used to sort of make them smaller and more portable. But then, since video RPGs don't consider gold to have any weight or mass, well, they just ignore it. And that is silly. Silly, I tell you. No, that's not... Oh, okay. It was super effective. Not what I intended to do, but it worked out nicely. But yeah, then gold has no mass, but gems do. I'm not quite sure why I keep fighting these, but then it's XP. I'm grinding for XP. Because it can really make a difference in the end game. Oh, Renard, you're a bit of a disappointment. Bam. Yeah, that burst attack doesn't really... I'm not sure of what it means. Going from chess to the Elder Scrolls to Dungeons and Dragons, I was surprised that your wallet takes up carry weight. Yeah. So, no, not työehtosopimus. Oh yeah, let's save the game. I'll just use the same slot. Now we should end up in the overworld. I wish I could have gone from työehtosopimus to D&D. Don't we all? Yeah, I wanna check if... Oh yeah. Apparently the thing that Ongaloden mentioned last time, that you can save in the on the world map without a specific save point, is indeed true. But yeah, let's go to Grenoble. Oh yeah, työehtosopimus is your job contract, or are you just... Yeah. Anywho. Amazing! The fleet of Levantine is here! The river is full of ships. Ely has never seen this many. At least 2,000 strong. Men and women from all over the Levant realm. Do they not march, Lucien, in glory and pride, as soldiers of Gordland do? The Grand Flux allows the Levants to mobilize their fleet and army quickly. The river can take men to the farthest corners of the Old North faster than going by foot. They say, who controls the river controls the Old North. It's an old saying of the Rhines. Oh, that could have used rework, this sentence. Oh. Lord Uncle! I feel I have to harness the lower voice now. Lucien, squires, do you have the food from Orsea? Yes, Lord Uncle. General. Beg pardon? I am your general in this campaign. You will address me as such. Understood, General. Listen, squires. Your task during this trip is to protect our supplies. Make sure there are no rats and that the supplies remain dry. Is this clear? It is clear, General. We disembark by noon. Men, take the supplies and load them on... No, I... Needs more oomph and authority. We disembark by noon. Men, take the supplies and load them on the ship. Yes, General. Removed sack of wheat. Daddy Severin indeed. You may be squires still, but in this war your soldiers are the same. The men and women who walk with us are risking their lives for the realm. If you don't have the same dedication as they do, you can go home right now. Come aboard when you're ready. That is the Ravager? Not as tall as I thought it'd be. Your idea that size is an advantage during our last encounter is naive. Ha! Clearly I had you panting and sweating by the end. I can say the same about you. Oh, well, she does that. Well, what are you two talking about? Fighting! What else? But really, Lucien, your uncle is so stern. Is he always like that? Even with you? Ely doesn't understand. Why can't Lucien call him uncle? His role on this journey is as a leader, Ilian. I am but one of his many subjects. He doesn't want people to think he shows me any special favors. But isn't it normal for family to treat each other with more love and affection? Why does that seem like a bad thing? Why, indeed. Yet 'tis the way of humans, Ely. We wish to be led by those who are fair and just. Lord Severin has known that he treats everyone in the battlefield as equals. A good example to follow, as odd as it sounds. Ely is still unsure if she likes that idea. But Ely understands how some would prefer it that way. Humans are so complicated, aren't they? Indeed we are, Eliane. Indeed we are. We should get going and prepare... We should get going and prepare ourselves for the trip. Now that is an interesting point. Okay, chat, tell me. Is it... Which would you prefer? That Lucien, or in this situation that Severin and Lucien found themselves in, that would you prefer that Lucien call him uncle? Call him general by his title, and that Severin would make a show of treating her as the same as everyone else, or that they would be transparent about the favoritism that is like a given, basically. It's not gonna just go anywhere. I've always seen Severin's way as the best way, but now this got me thinking. Yeah, because obviously it's still there. So is it fair to really hide it? Is it just sort of hiding nepotism? Ongolonen says, first I thought that the non-transparency would be better, but I'm not sure anymore. Yeah, that's a deal with hierarchy now, isn't it? When you have these power structures that are that are imposed on us. When we have... Okay, I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm not sure which one is actually better. It's a contradiction. The thing is that the familial affection is already there. It's something that they grew up with, or well, Lucien grew up with, and that we've all grown up with. So it has sort of precedence in that sense that it came first. But then we have the military organization that's sort of like plopped on top of it. But then again, okay, when we think of this from a purely pragmatic point of view, having varying people call the same person with varying titles is not a good idea in a big organization, because that adds to confusion. But yeah, but when it comes to the favoritism, um, I'm not sure if it's. Of course, the neatest way is to keep Lucien away from the Force, so that the conflict of interest doesn't get to arise. That would be the neatest way. But ultimately, when you look at the cast of characters here, you've got your really haughty people who are like connected as fuck. Lucien and Arya. Okay, these 6 people are all part of the same unit, and in theory they have the same rank in the system, but ultimately Lucien and Arya have higher status because of who they happen to be, or who they know, who they've grown up with, what their titles are. And probably in a military context, Renard would probably have a leg up as well, because he comes from a family that's renowned for combat prowess, not necessarily discipline, but at least people know he's a good in a fight, in a tight spot. But then we have Ilian and Camille. Camille's from basically a merchant family. Ilian, who's an outsider from, I wouldn't say, yeah, the elves are more of an enemy than anything else. Or, and then Isaac, who's an imposter. And also from a family that has far less renown, and also doesn't know his way around. Even if the actual Isaac knew other nobles and knew knights, men-at-arms, whoever, Reed here doesn't. So they cannot in any way be equal in the hierarchy. And ultimately, they're not at like the bottom of the barrel because they're squires, they're knights in training. So they basically have the cadets. They don't have what they lack in official rank. They make up for in prospects. And yeah, but like. Ultimately, when there's a class structure, then no organization can actually be non-hierarchical or have a horizontal power structure, because you bring all that baggage from your everyday life into the workplace or whatever. There is an interesting way around this problem, actually, that sort of avoids some aspects of the nepotism and favoritism and so on. The sort of anarchist model, where you vote for your bosses. So every unit, like 10 or so, decides who among them is sergeant. And then, or who gives the orders. And then they will maintain that position as long as they enjoy the trust. And they also decide who runs the bigger picture and so on and so on. It's often said that it doesn't work, and that military units have to be authoritarian. But do they? The special forces don't work in an authoritarian fashion. Take the US Army Green Berets, Special Forces, or the sort of model, which is the British Special Air Service. They decide from among their number who at any given moment is the one who gives orders. They do have a default, sort of, so that in case they in case no one else has expertise, then this person is the one who gives orders. But it ultimately does boil down to confidence in that leader, which is why they don't usually run on officers. It's fairly common for like a Special Forces A team, which is the basic building block, to function completely well without an officer present. Because officers aren't necessary. They're composed of sergeants. So the elite military units of the world prove that the anarchist model actually works. But yeah, Ongolonen says, I believe it could be worse for Lucian if her family relationship would often be brought up with others of her rank. But then again, the favoritism is there anyway, so it's hard question, yeah. Yeah, Martin, but a lot of people don't know that about Special Forces. I've read up on it quite a bit, because I wouldn't call it a phase, the militarist thing that I had. It was way too long to be a phase. It sort of started with my getting the Cyberpunk 2020 rulebook in my hands, and I looked at all the stats for the guns, and I wanted to know what those guns look like, because style over substance, you need to know what they look like. So I started to look into the literature, and that led me to all sort of military trivia stuff. But yeah, elite units work that way because that is the best way of actually working. It's just that the job that the military usually has is to do immoral things. And you're equipping people with weapons and with the mentality to use them. It's a really frightening thing for authority figures to give them free rein to use that power. To give the individual soldier, or the common soldier in actual fact, that power to use them however they will. Because what happens when they are given an outrageously immoral order? Then they not only might they not obey, they might turn against you. And if you don't have the army on your side, then you're fucked. And the authoritarian mindset is such that that you cannot conceive of anyone being equal with each other, that there is always a pecking order. that if you do not have superiority over others, they automatically have to have superiority over you. So you are either a winner or a loser. There is no such thing as cooperation, really. There is just mutual exploitation. And preferably you exploit them and they lose out. So it's really terrifying for that sort of mindset to actually give the power to decide to people. It's a fact that any unit that is basically educated, self-reliant, etc., etc., elite, what's considered elite, is basically a unit that doesn't need leaders or doesn't need bosses. Leaders are a different thing. A leader is the person who motivates, coordinates, and keeps people going. The boss is the dead weight that you drag behind you, who just makes a lot of noise and usually makes things more difficult. But a leader is like for instance, a game master in a role-playing game group. The game master is usually a leader. They're not above the others. They just coordinate things. It's a role. But yeah. Now we have lots and lots of chatting to do, because I think that the town sort of opened up. Oh, Camille. Spoil sport. Can we please not go here? My father must be busy. I don't... Sorry. I don't want to bother him. As you wish, Camille. Thank you. That sounded weird. I think if there was a collectible here, I've already picked it up. Lord General Severin awaits you on board the ship. Actually, was this everything? Was this really everything? This was everything. I find this really annoying, because this seems like a very interesting town, and we can't explore. But I suppose we need to embark. Right this way, squires. Chapter 3. Call to battle. Oh, military camp. Unload our supplies and equipment, squires. Store them somewhere dry. Yes, Lord Uncle. General. When you're done, I want you to go find Sir Arthur. I've been talking to him about these lands. He'll tell you what to do. No. No. That sounded wrong. I've been talking to him about... My articulation is shit today. Well, I'll just... The show must go on. I've been talking to him about these lands. He'll tell you what to do. Oh. Looks a lot like Francis, actually. The bandit leader. Interesting. Severin! What took you so long? We've been waiting all morning. Good. The two of you are here already. Let's start talking about strategy. Always so straightforward. Is there no time for small chats among old friends? We can chat about strategy. You never change, do you, Sev? Come on, then. We can use my pavilion. I'm not sure about her, like, I don't know who she is. What the fucks? Here comes Marianne with the DreamWorks brows. That's Lord Thedas Rossavol, isn't it? Seneschal of the Arbiters. Now I know why they call him the Iron Bear. And that was Lady Marianne Belenis, the Lioness, the greatest female knight in the Old North. Look at her weapon. It's the sacred sword Faithkeeper. Renard and Arya know those two? Not in person, nay. But everyone in the Old North knows who they are. Who they are. Oh, so the human world is like a huge village. In Illy's village everyone knows each other too. 'Tis not the correct way to put it. They are famed for their strength and leadership, Ilian. Humans tell stories and keep records about exceptional individuals. Through these stories, a great person can be known by many far and wide. Ooh, so what kind of stories are there about them? They said that the Iron Bear once killed a man by tossing a horse at him with one hand. 'Tis said that the lioness once defeated 3 of her foes with a single thrust of her blade. Why are all these stories about hurting others? Don't humans like to do anything else, like playing music, dancing, wood carving? Excellent questions. You can always trust Ilian. You see, Ili, we humans may not look like it, but we're as feral as any other animal. We're violent creatures. We glorify those who excel at combat and look up to them as examples. You're saying it as if we were the bad guys, Isaac. But it's all true, isn't it? Mother never told Ely that humans can be so scary. But I'm sure there are also other kinds of stories. For example, do you know that Lady Belenis has 5 husbands? 5? I like her expression. Yes, indeed. Tradition of the Belenis dictates for its leader to have multiple mates. Too many times have houses crumbled due to the incapability of their leaders. Their tradition ensures that the house always has choices of successors. How does it work, really? They don't just all go to bed at once, do they? It would be one hell of a night. Not at all like thy lewd imaginations, Renard. The leader of the house is simply expected to produce offspring from her different mates. Instead of having the eldest be next in line, 'tis the one with most merit shall be chosen for the seat. Merit? What exactly makes someone deemed more capable than the other? There's so much to talk about after this. So much to talk about. We've got multiple relationships sort of situation. I hesitate to call it polyamory because love might have nothing to do with it. Seems to be more of a procreation arrangement. There's the feral nature of humans, and then apparently merit and meritocracy. Merit. What exactly makes someone deemed more capable than the other? That would depend on the house's current needs, Lucien. In times of war, perhaps they would prefer a candidate with might. In times of peace, perhaps wit and charm would be of importance. Thus the house is able to adapt and choose the leader who fits to their needs.
Templed by rivalry since birth. That's how true leaders are made.
Good God. The human culture is much, much more complex than Ely thought. Now Ely becomes curious. She wants to ask people about other stories they can tell. A good idea, Ely. But for now we have supplies to unload. After that we can talk to people and hear more stories about those three. Surely there'd be more to hear than just tales of fighting? How does that sound? Yes, Ely loves stories. Mother always tells Ely one before she sleeps. Let's hurry with the crates. Yeah, Martunovo, I share the same. I share the sentiment. If I remember correctly, I did start a game like a long time ago with Ely, but I didn't go further than the very, very beginning. I can't remember anything about it. But yeah, I've also been thinking that I might do once I play this through with Isaac, I might revisit the game with Ilian, because she has a very interesting perspective. Although I'm also curious about the backgrounds of the others. But yeah, let's talk about this. All these things, all these issues. Okay, how should we unpack? Let's start with the stories. The stories of great warriors and violence. Okay, there's a lot there that has to do with, well, patriarchy. If all the great stories are of imposing your will violently on others, then that is made into a virtue in the culture, and that would mean that it is good and proper for you to subjugate other people. That if they will not bend, they must be broken. And that is the guiding narrative of our culture. And it's really, really fucked up, because we extend that to everything, not just to each other. We consider nature to be there for us to basically pillage. We consider the people we live with, that we coexist with, outside of our immediate circle. It's about dominating them or breaking them, and also assuming that they're trying to do the same to you. We get into this authoritarian mindset again. And we've ended up with this, like, the dominating narrative of our culture is basically the great man theory, that history is made through the deeds of great men. And this isn't just sexist language, it's just a sexist consideration or idea. It just so happens that the great men happen to be men. Of course, since the only thing that counts is rape and pillage and domination over others. Basically, all the victory conditions of civilization, Sid Meier's civilization, yeah, actually, that's a tangent I want to go into because the sort of patriarchy thing and that's I'm not that good at discussing it. Um, I can't really go into that much depth. There are people who are way better equipped to talk about it than I am. Like basically, I guess just on YouTube, start with ContraPoints and explore. But yeah, Sid Meier's Civilization and games not being political. Civilization has it's a 4X game. Okay, 4X is a marketing term, but it has become a guideline for the whole genre of games. The 4Xs stand for, what is it? Expand, exploit, um, something something, and exterminate. Actually, let's just a moment. I'll check quickly. 4X genre. What was it all about? Dun, dun, dun. Wikipedia. Explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. Yeah, exterminate. Because that's the winning strategy. Now there's the thing. Not only are the victory conditions victory conditions such as that you have to crush and dominate and expand. Bigger is always better. But the mechanics of the game are the same. Of course, if the objectives are to expand, exterminate, so on and so forth, then of course the mechanics would be there to make that possible. Yeah, the term exterminate is especially interesting in a game where you have ethnic groups. It's interesting how they sort of overlook that in the games largely. It is basically about the winning strategy is to do military or cultural genocide. There are every now and again there are like slight nods that they know that cultural imperialism sucks. But they just basically seem to say that, well, that's just the way the world is. We're just simulating the world as it exists. This is just historical. Whose history is it? Really? Whose history? It is the history and the mindset of imperialist Europe in all its variations. And Sid Meier's Civilization has reached such a position of authority in the gaming world, or in the world, in fact, that it is considered to be educational. When what it does is narrow our view of possibilities. If you would want to do the, let's say, 5 Nations indigenous Americans, which is a confederacy, which is basically the founding fathers of the United States um, pillaged the constitution of the Five Nations and then bent it to their slave-owning white supremacist aristocratic will. So you really don't have the possibility of playing Five Nations or any sort of non like competitive, peaceful culture and expect to survive. Okay, you can survive, but on one condition: that you develop one hell of an army and kick the shit out of your neighbors. That's the way to do it. Or, alternatively, you produce as a product, as a commodity, cultural influence that you can overcome them, so that if they attack you, then their people will like feel bad about it, and there will be unrest. So you can sort of slow down the process. Also, there is the game also includes the idea that every interaction is one of trade. That you give a resource or favor or some such thing in return for something else, and that's basically what you got. That every interaction has to be transactional, which is, again, it's thoroughly capitalist. Oh, well, it does exist in other cultures as well, but isn't compatible with basically a gift culture, I suppose. There are so many civilization games that potentially there could be outliers. There could also be mods that might correct this. But ultimately, that modding to that degree would basically make a new game. Because diplomacy is not something that computers are very good at. Computers are their very structure, they, at least as we use them, or we have them, about ones and zeros. So it's war or peace, life or death. It's basically extremes. And then you, at best, you can have this, you mix extremes together in the right proportions so that it comes out as a grey blob if you look at it from a distance. But when you look at it close up, it's a raster. It's black and white spots. So they're not. Computers cannot handle compromise and uncertainty. So we'll have to wait for quantum computing to be able to enjoy that sort of thing. That makes it really, really difficult to code any sort of game that has flexibility in that regard, that has nuance, that we are used to experiencing in human interaction. So I fully understand why civilization is the way it is. I'd actually be curious to know. No, this is pure speculation. If imperialism and sort of patriarchy hadn't been dominant in our culture, would we have come up with a different sort of technological basis for our computers. Something for the science fiction or the speculative fiction, or alternate history folks to consider. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, it's the ones and zeros that makes combat such a common theme in games, or it's a contributing factor. The culture factor is, of course, the dominant one, but the ones and zeros does play a role in it. In that, is that life and death is very easy for computers to understand. Or, well, that you are one thing and then suddenly that status changes into something something other. That there are two choices, that you have one of two states. But yeah. What else did we have? We've had the great man theory. Merit. Oh, one of my favorite topics. Meritocracy is a lie. Or rather, the promise that we are given about meritocracy is a lie. It is told to us that the experts are the best people for the job. Okay, what makes them experts? Well, there are experts that say that these experts are experts. Okay, who made those people experts? Oh, the experts before them. So that means that once upon a time, there were proto-experts who had students who were ranked and scored and considered by how much their views please their teachers. If you have different values, if you have a different viewpoint, if you just have a personal, like a problem with personal chemistry, you're out. Or at least you're not considered as highly. You lose status. You're on the outside. You're no longer an expert. Bye-bye. You might end up as a conspiracy theorist or a crackpot. And I'm here not considering who's right and who's wrong. But this is just the way it goes. And then you have the next generation of experts who have a possibly an even narrower conception of who's fitting to be an expert. Over time, you get this sort of ideology. Of course, the base sort of can expand because one teacher can have many students or disciples, and there will be differences of opinion between the different disciples within the ranks, as it were. But they still come from that one tradition, that narrower tradition. And of course, then when there are differences of opinion, it splinters. They go off that in that direction, they go off in that direction. So you basically have philosophy, and then you have the arts go in that direction because they don't really get along with, or well, there's a conflict with the physical sciences, natural sciences. And they have trouble communicating with each other because they develop their own theories and values and so on. And then you have the physical sciences that then split into, or natural sciences that split into biology, chemistry, physics, whatever. you have the crackpot mathematicians that that do their own thing, and so on and so forth. But they all have their various views on the world because of how they process it. And I do not object to specialization. We need specialization. But we need to understand that they're bloody specialists, and that the world is composed of phenomena that combine those fields, that you cannot find the truth in any one thing just by applying one single discipline onto it. Because the viewpoint narrows, and today we can see it with society. Society is a very broad thing, has so many aspects, has so many viewpoints, has so very bloody many moving parts. And the people who dictate what, who in our meritocracy are considered meritorious enough, to experts enough to dictate what society should be, are economists. Not only economists, because, well, the field of economics has withered since the 70s. Started earlier, I guess, but neoliberal. There's this concept, neoliberal capitalism, which is like the neoliberal economics, which is the politics of Thatcher, of Ronald Reagan, and basically all of his successors, up to and including the president Biden, which dictates that everything is down to the individual and so on. It all goes to Ayn Rand and objectivism and that sort of thing. But it all the catchphrase is individual responsibility. That everyone should be free to do whatever they want, but no mention of the means. So if you, for instance, happen to be poor, you really don't have the power to do anything you want. If you're born rich, you can do whatever you want. Also, politicians, I'm thinking Swedish Parliament, many are specialists on politics and economics, but we don't see many people with a background in trades. Yeah, because the trades are not considered fitting. And this is like, if there is a death knell for democracy, actual, like, working democracy, that's it. The whole point of democracy isn't that experts tell us what we should do. The point of democracy is to decide what is good for the community, for the society, by hearing everyone's lived experience. And there is a thing about experts. They are, by definition, well-to-do. Especially in our current culture, in a capitalist society. If you don't make money in your field, you do not qualify as an expert. That is the standard. That is the merit. You can be wrong. You can be shitty. you can be a terrible person and just vomit terrible ideological excrement onto others. But as long as you make money, there must be a point to what you're saying. It is insane. Yeah, for actual parliaments tend to do this, that it tends to become, the politician becomes a profession, and that's twisted. It's not democratic anymore, because then you have a political class, and that's not democratic anymore. You need to involve everyone in the process. Like, every single one needs to be heard. Now, how that, like, okay, isn't that the point of the democratic system? Yeah, and of elections. Well, sort of, yeah. But the thing is, elections run on the free marketplace of ideas. That you throw in lots of different ideas that compete with each other, and then the informed consumer makes their choice and votes, and the best idea wins, and best people win, and that just doesn't hold true. It's just wrong. It is demonstrably, obviously wrong. Because campaigning takes money, for one thing. Okay, you can legislate. You can legislate that you can't use more money than... Here in Finland, we have that legislation, that there is only so long a time that you can run campaign ads. There's only so much money that you can spend. And I think that's good. It's a good idea. Now, does that make... does an abundance or a lack of political advertising make for an informed voter? Or does it make marketing just more important in the process? Because we don't have informed voters because of our material conditions. How can we be informed of all the breadth of political thought and ideas if all the news we get is from commercial media that is owned by really fucking rich people? And also there's like state radio or whatever run by the state. Even though there are measures in place that should guarantee its neutrality, there is still bound to be bias. And also, with what time and resources do we do that? How do we get informed? It's very easy for a university-educated expert to say that you just need to read up. How? How do you read up? When do you read up? How do you know what to read up? Actually, the thing is, people are reading up. Now, the complaint is that they're reading up the wrong sources, that they're reading up on social media, that they're reading up on ultra-nationalist bullshit. Yeah, because that's available. That's the stuff that's available. You want an academic source? If you're not enrolled in a university, you're shit out of luck, or rich. Because academic sources are really, really hard to come by. Once upon a time, university, at least here in Finland, university libraries were open to all. Okay, they're still open to all. You can still go and actually you can get a library card for a university library, and you can borrow books. But all the new stuff is in electronic form. They're ebooks, PDFs, and those exist in JSTOR and EBSCOhost, and they those are behind a paywall. You can get through the paywall if you are enrolled or employed by the university. But if you do not happen to belong in such a class, shit out of luck. I try to read up on specific parties' websites, but they are not detailed at all, only ideological, so I'm always left with more questions. Yeah, they tend to be rather weak on the what to actually do. They tend to be rather good at pointing out problems, that this problem exists, but that's a very, very low bar to overcome. That's trivial. Yeah, journals and papers behind a paywall get on my nerves. Yeah. So, yeah, how are we supposed to be educated and experts if we can't access that thing without committing our lives to it? If you want to, if you enroll in a university in a like a candidacy program, you're a full-time student. That's a job. You're a part-time student. That's still a part-time job. And that's not including tuition fees, if you happen to live in such a country that has them. Unfortunately, lots of them are. And that's really twisted. I'll get to the... at some point, I'll probably rant about the science belonging to everyone. But yeah, expertise is something for the elite. You have to be of a very specific class to have that option. And also, if you do not happen... if you happen to be of a class that allows you to, if you have the material... if you have material conditions that allow you to, do you choose to? Do you choose to dedicate yourself to that? Are you going to be in a university? Is that something you're going to spend your money on? Access to sources. But if something is available for free, it's either that simply visiting, you make money for other people by giving up a piece of your privacy, or they are very, very well funded by billionaires. Basically, how the sort of right-wing media works, the podcasts and vlogs and like YouTube channels, whatever. They get massive funding from like the Koch brothers, or the Koch brothers Foundation, and similar right-wing ultra-capitalist sources. And then there's mutual aid. You've got your like bread tubes, your Twitch streamers who spout their, well, questionable expertise. Although on YouTube and podcasts you can find actual, like, really well-read people. Just to make clear, I'm not a very well-read person when it comes to all this. I just see bits and pieces of the world and comment on them. But yeah, the thing is that out of these three, giving up your privacy, massive corporate sponsorships, or like solidarity and mutual aid. Solidarity and mutual aid, the least gets the least exposure. So even though largely reliable and often very responsible, often by actual like merited experts, but you never find it. So no wonder we're fucked. Okay, did I go through everything? Meritocracy, the sort of domination between folks, and yeah, I'll just return to the game. I've been streaming for 2 hours, and I've probably like played for 20 minutes, if that. But it's good. Actually, I want to see what the logbook says about the storyline. So that's the one dubbed as Ravager. There's something about him that seems to tug at me. A feeling of fear, as if looking at a predator who can rip you apart in a few seconds. I wonder how Lucien can survive this long being near him. Daddy indeed. Call to battle. So those are Lady Belenus and the Seneschal. One resides in Godland, the other in the Seat of Justice. Both in the Great Plains where my village was. And still we were milked to death by the nobles. What use are great warriors if they can't bring prosperity to the people? What use are their titles if they can't get their peers to uphold justice? It's very close to seeing something very important. Actually, one of my favorite lines from Star Wars, from Empire Strikes Back, when Luke first encounters Yoda and says that he's there to look for a great warrior. And Yoda goes, war does not make one great. He would know. Brooding over the past won't get me anywhere. I'd better find Serata, who'll give us directions on how to scout the Enders. He should be an easy find if he's still in that offensive coloured attire. Oh, no, so now the peasant boy is judging other people's fashion choices. That is something I would expect from Arya. Yeah, and who knows, maybe Arthur is colourblind, for instance. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Welcome to the war camp, Master Isaac. If you'd like to take a rest, your tent is on the northwestern part of the camp.
Good to know, thank you. Oh, there's something lootable. Lootable. Come on. Spike armor. Oh, damn it! I forgot to equip one of the armor thing.
Wolfskin mantle.
Defense plus 30, 25% bleed resistance. Okay. Bleed resistance would be nice, but health plus 100 is also rather nice. So. Actually, let's check out the abilities. Okay, I have a chance to evade an attack, so... who shall we give it to? Someone who uses light armor. Actually, Ilian is just wearing a shirt. And so is Camille. Let's see. Like, I'd like to give from a mechanical standpoint, I'd like to give the wolfskin mantle to Ilian, but from a thematic, world-building standpoint, having her wear a wolfskin is a bit grotesque. But then again, the wolf doesn't need it anymore. So she'd probably be fine with it. But yeah, spike armor. Let's see, what does a spike armor do? Returns 30 pierce damage. Okay, this is so obviously a Lucienne thing. Has to be Lucienne's because she's a tank and she attracts attacks. So that leaves us with Hunter's Hide. So that's less damage from. No, screw it. Let's give it to Renard. But yeah, the wolfskin mantle still needs a wearer. No, let's give it to Ely. It's nice and sort of natural. Okay. Oh, now we actually get to enhance things. Greetings, squires. My name is Edith, and I'm the army's blacksmith. I can turn your weapons into masterpieces, but it's hard to do in a limited space like this. Okay, so we need more monies. Well, we can actually sell some stuff, I think, because I don't think we need the elven bow and hatchet and so on and so forth. What does Isaac actually, if we enhance the cookery? There's still a chance that we might get better weapons at some point. Also, we don't have steel apparently, so. But we could improve the bows. The ranged weapons. Be safe out there, squires. Your weapons might be sharp, but it's no reason to let your guard down. I get a bit lazy with the merchants because sort of one-offs. Hello, squires. My name is Sasha, and I'm the army's equipment requisitioner. I offer items better than standard issue ones for those concerned with their safety, for a price. Leather armor. Let's see. Defense would go up. Chainmail. Defense. Okay, they're basically the same, apparently. Okay, braces, glass earrings, so on. But for that we need monies. Money. I don't think we need shattered knives. Actually, I'll come back here later because I really hate it when I sell something that I end up needing at a later point. It has been a pleasant business. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to come back. Oh, cutscene. Honoured father, why art thou here? Greetings, loyal daughter. Art thou of good health? Yes, father, though I've heard nary a word of thee joining the march north. When all three blade bearers have converged, 'tis only befitting for us to tender aid as well. Gareth is rather pretty. The talents of the Inquisition will no doubt be of use against these adversaries. No doubt. That's really odd, because that would, no doubt, would be sort of northern, Scottish. And it's just weird.
Just sounds archaic to them, I suppose.
I see. And brother, too?
Heir. Isn't he smouldering? Able. Able indeed.
Of course, Arya. I'm an inquisitor myself. It's just natural that I go wherever my pack goes, no? We haven't seen each other for a while, haven't we, sister? How's the squiring going for you? Do you count the number of people you've killed? Still timid, I see. Good girl. You don't trust Abel. Now, why would you go and say a thing like that? Doesn't he have an honest face? Should you kill the man? Is it what the Deus ordered? Are you doing the right thing? Oh, Deus, how I love that conflicted face of yours. Be quiet, brother. What's that, sister? Did you just talk back? And that glare. Are you angry at me, At your own brother? Shut up. I'm tired of hearing your senseless babbles. Huh? Who are you, mongrel? How dare a commoner talk to me like that? Commoner? I'll give you a chance to take those words back. Do it now while you still have a mouth. Who do you think you are to order me around, filthy dog? I really hate the guy, but I love doing his voice. I am Abel of the Geraldine. You should apologize to me, else I'll flay you for your insolence. Tell me, Abel Geraldine, do you prefer to be strangled like the pig you are, or beaten to a pulp? Enough of this circus. Ye both art grown nobles. Act like it. Father, what are you saying? Let me handle this dirty mutt myself. What was that? Come here and fight me fairly, you prick. Do you prefer to hide behind your daddy and whine like a kid, scum? Really going upwards with the insults there. Abel has the vibe of an anime character that turns bad at the end. Not the BBEG, but the one who makes bad things possible. Oh, yes. I understand Arya much better now. Enough, Master Renard. Certainly the heir of House de la Forêt is wise enough to have patience, is he not? To provoke another noble, even spouting such crude taunts. Me provoking? He started all this. I thought Lord Gaston de la Forêt was more than a brute. But if this is how he has taught his son, perhaps my choice of words in the courts should change when I speak of thy house. Fine. Good. I'm glad we have settled this. Now, I'm sure ye have matters to attend to. We shall leave ye squires alone. This isn't over yet, mongrel. They're so Slytherin. Haughty-taughty and so annoying. In the end, they didn't even say a word of apology. What a family. I thoroughly apologize, Renard. My brother can be a little unstable at times. It wasn't your fault, Arya. I'm sure Renard wouldn't mind. Though I wonder how a man with his impairment can qualify as an inquisitor. Must be his father's influence with the church that got him in. I didn't mean... 'Tis fine, Camille. Much as I loathe it, truth shall be spoken as is. I apologize again for whatever trouble they may cause you. Arya's father really knows his way with words, doesn't he? No. Arya's father really knows his way with words, doesn't he? Even Renard can be stopped so quickly.
He brought my father and my family's name into this. It wasn't fair.
Fairness doesn't seem to matter to them. We shouldn't get in any trouble with them. I agree. Let's forget them and look for Siddhartha. Siddhartha. I agree. Let's forget them and look for Siddhartha. Renard. Thank you. Thank you for standing up for me.
Hey, no problem, princess.
A very Han Solo-ish thing to say. Oh, I see the glimmer of loot. No kink shaming, Martunova. You want Geralt to call you a princess, then you're welcome to it. Ooh, a Vulj. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce that particular polearm, because its polearms are weird. Okay, this is the Gizarm. Okay, that's less attack, more vitality. That would increase hit points, defense, and initiative. I'm taking the Vulj. You called Renard Geralt. Yeah, you might be into Witcher. It ain't wrong. Although it doesn't do it for me personally, but to each their own. Paladins and Inquisitors are two sides of the same coin. We are both guardians of the faith. The Inquisition is its sword, the Paladins its shield. Each of us performs our own roles, at the same time filling each other's weaknesses. And maybe other places, if there is true camaraderie there. So many people to talk to. Different from common soldiers, almost all arbiters were born noble. Oh, but that makes them great arbiters. Are you going to explain to us why? You have to surrender your noble titles to be admitted into the ranks. Yeah, that makes you so bloody gracious now, doesn't it? I went on a rant about the shallowness and fakery of that notion, related to the Lucian calling the Ravager uncle thing. There's so much to explore here. Oh, there's a story. Oh, there was a bright red crystal in the pig. Oh, there's Sarata. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of exploration to do, and I imagine there will be plot here as well.
I'll at least take a break. Because 2 hours, 20 minutes of streaming, well, it... and constant talking, it does tax you a bit. But yeah, I'll take a short break and chat. If you have any, I won't be playing that far because I think there might be a bigger plot line coming, and this might be a very natural place to start the next stream, because I don't want to wear out my voice in the. Okay, Martinovo, have a nice time with your family. Have a good evening, and hope to see you in the next stream. Yeah, I'll. What does chat think? Options at the moment. Either I sort of sign off hereabouts, or that I take a break and we chat on a topic. If we'll see what you decide. It's a pity that I can't do like can't do polls, as that would be so nifty. But yeah, I'm okay. Ongolonen says, "Okay, I'll take a break, and I'll return, and we'll see what we're gonna talk about, because I don't. You could make a straw poll if you wish. Yeah, how do I do that? But then again, I don't really have the with these viewer numbers. It doesn't really make a difference. I'll just obey the chat. But yeah, I'll take a short break, and I'll return, and we'll chat about something. If there's a topic that you'd like to chat about, well, tell me about it in the chat. Now, isn't that nice and confusing? Yeah, but see you soon at past at the latest. I'm probably not gonna take a long break. Oh, okay, it's a separate site. Okay, I thought that the straw poll would be a Twitch thing. But yeah, see you soon.
Hello, everyone from Villepoika stream. Forgot I was in studio mode. So me rolling around. Doesn't really matter. But it's really hot here. Really, really hot. Be sure to, everyone, follow Villepoika's stream if you're into these leftist politics things, and occasional gaming as well. Da-da-da. Yeah, you just arrived at the perfect moment. I took a short break I needed a bit of a breather. Oh, just a moment. There we go. No, there we go. Sorry about the game audio cutting out. Can't do anything about that, I'm afraid. No, it's when I adjust the windows on my desktop, then it gets a bit finicky. Yeah, how was your stream, Villepoika? I had to leave in the middle of all, like, you were just segueing nicely from Finnish politics and the class treachery of the Left Alliance into Warhammer 40k when I started the stream. So hope it went well. Well, you kept streaming for 2.5 hours, so. It's really hot here. I had to keep the door closed, even though Umbra's not around, so I didn't have to keep it closed, except for the dishwasher was doing its thing. And now it's really, really hot. It's hot in here. Decently talked some bit about stuff, about politics still, and after that played some Hades again. Hades looks and sounds really good. Not my, like, I don't have a controller, so I'm not sure if I can actually play it in any meaningful way. But it does look good, and the voice acting is really good. But never mind. I'm pretty much done with the gameplay for today. Actually, what I seem to do is that I start with the game and then go into politics. But we've been talking about the meritocracy and how it's basically fake, and then about hierarchies and the great man theory. Ooh, actually, let's save the game. Now let's create a new save. Just in case I want to revisit the previous conversation. But yeah, we talked about politics after the game. Yeah. I find that the game actually brings up topics to discuss. So first you have the sort of warming up with the game, brings up topics, you discuss them, and then, like, if I was really elite, I'd take notes of the topics that the game brings up and then try to bring them together somehow. But since I'm doing this recreationally, then no, not gonna do that. No notes. But if someone in the audience wants to take notes and sort of collect topics from those from the dialogue and whatever,
then go right ahead. I would appreciate it greatly. But yeah, we now get into the military bit. We have the military camp. And the war is brewing against the alien hordes, basically. Orcs, for lack of a better term. An enemy that is an existential threat. Oh, here we have gates. And we have tents. I think people can go into those tents, but I think I'll spare those for the next stream, so that we can really visit and get involved with those characters, and then see about the storyline. The difficulty with this game is that it has those bits of dialogue that keep explicitly bringing up political topics, really important political topics. And in the previous dialogue, like the one we had here, entering the place, you got like 3 topics in that one bit of dialogue. Let's see what the... If you're confident, you can spend all your SP to deal burst damage at the beginning of combat. Okay. Now that's an unusually harsh sort of tutorial message. They usually, in this game, they try to write them into the dialogue somehow, and try to write them as in-world speech. But this is really harsh. Really harsh. And actually, that seems to be specific for... specifically for Isaac. Interesting. I didn't know that they have sort of individualized tips. That way, you may be able to defeat all your enemies before they do anything harmful to you. However, this is a glass cannon strategy. It either succeeds or it fails horribly. Make sure you always have a plan B. For me, that means stocking up on healing items. For me, it's Lucien. Yeah, at least we know about the SP now. Yeah, and they could have just they could have written stamina instead of SP. But that seemed to be a sort of placeholder text, really. Because why would you use the SP instead of stamina? Because stamina is an actual fucking word. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Ooh, lots of enterable tents. I want to see what's in there. There's a soldier in there. Hello, soldier. Oh, hello there. Are you looking for something? These supplies are for the army. You're part of it, so please do take what you need. Yeah, well, if I could interact with anything, I would. That brings to mind hoarding. Something that we're familiar with in these Corona times. Oh, that would be a nice name for a zine. Corona times. Hoarding, the acquisition of resources in excess of what you actually need, for fear of running out otherwise. Now, that really is a symptom of of scarcity. Yeah. Oh, oh, take care of yourself, Villepoika. Have a good night. But yeah, scarcity. The reason that people are, for instance, hoarding toilet paper is because they're afraid that toilet paper will run out, so they try to act, so they end up acting in a way that makes it run out for other people. And it is, if we had no fear of running out, basically of other people hoarding, we wouldn't be inclined to hoard, because it's really wasteful, because you're using resources for something that you do not need. It's just nonsensical, and you end up with a situation where someone doesn't get to use those resources. And yeah, and it's all okay. This is conjecture on my part. I don't have any research results to back this up, but I'm fairly sure that it would back me up. And if you have any sources, for or against, please do share them in the chat or the comments, wherever you interact with this piece of media. If we had no fear of running out of necessary resources, we wouldn't need to hoard. We'd actually be relieved of quite a few societal ills if we didn't have that constant insecurity about necessary resources. And our answer to that is rationing. I know, actually, a bit of a tangent here. During the Last of Us Part 2 sort of debacle, or the brouhaha about the muscular female character in the game, some of them, this is a small detail in it, and I don't really care to necessarily go into the whole thing that well. I didn't follow it very thoroughly. I just basically watched Jim Sterling's videos as a resource, and one of the complaints that basically the anti-SJW crowd had was that the woman, the female character, couldn't be so jacked because there was rationing at the compound she lived at. That is so stupid. Rationing is something that's been poisoned in our discourse. Rationing is labeled as something that makes that denies you the ability to gain what you need. That it's some sort of tyranny that that keeps you weak. When in fact, the idea of rationing isn't that you don't get enough. It's just that you can't take all of it. Yes. Capitalism is fundamentally against rationing. Because the idea of rationing is that everyone would have what they need, so that a privileged few couldn't hoard it all to themselves and then use it as capital, as leverage to to get other people to bend to their will. Rationing is there to prevent tyranny, not to impose it. Rationing can be used for like tyranny, sure, definitely, but it doesn't have to be. If you think about unemployment benefits and the social democratic band-aids that we have in our society, well, we're lucky few. They are a form of rationing, or rather that they're the tyrannical sort of rationing, where the idea behind the rationing isn't that it prevents you from taking away from someone else. The rationing is there to make sure that you do not get enough to be comfortable. Because the idea of a social democracy is not that everyone's needs get catered to, that get met, that people have a good life. That is not the point of social democracy. The point of social democracy is to alleviate the worst, most egregious cruelty of capitalism. Social democracy concedes that capitalism is harmful and damaging by its very nature. Necessarily, it is, inevitably, it is damaging and harmful. And social democracy tries to make sure that not that many people get killed and tortured by it. No, okay. Number one, considering that capitalism always, by its very nature, and it actually admits to all this, tries to expand, develop, goes for those 4 X's. You exploit, expand, exterminate, and the other 4th X. But that is what capitalism does. That's it. That is its, at its core, the core gameplay, as it were. And when an economic system is constantly attacking, and the only means you have in a social democracy, it's basically a bulwark against that it's trying to defend against a constant attack. But the thing is that social democracy cannot push back. It can't weaken capitalism. Capitalism will eventually break through, and social democracy has to retreat, attack, retreat, attack, retreat, attack, retreat, until inevitably you just make way for capitalism. Capitalism wins. It's a no-win solution. And even at its strongest, social democracy simply upholds capitalism. It very clearly tries to make it seem less harmful than it is. That there are these people who are being ground down by the economic system, and they're about to make a very visible tragedy of death and destruction, of violence. Social democracy comes in and gives around some blankets and some ibuprofen, band-aids, and says that this is an isolated incident. We have a system that is that works to alleviate this misery. That this is an aberration and not an integral part of the system. So when like right-wing parties, especially in Finland, it's a very common refrain that we're all social democrats. Even the like National Coalition Party, the basically the Joe Biden party, one could say, the neoliberals, they say they're social democrats. And yeah, because they've realized that social democracy can hide the misery that they inflict through capitalism. And the thing is, capitalism by its very nature tries to destroy itself. It's so contradictory, because limitless expansion just isn't viable. On a finite planet with finite resources, you cannot have infinite expansion. Just not possible. So social democracy is a way of maintaining that system, not letting it destroy itself. And when you look at the responses to the coronavirus, for instance, what is the way governments have responded to people running out of money for rent and food, medication, whatever, like your basic needs? They've propped up banks and businesses because they're employers. Historically, that's never worked. Look at the financial crisis 12 years ago. The banks and businesses just became richer. They used all that money to buy back their own stock, to raise the stock prices. They paid egregious bonuses. And yeah, that is claimed to be the way to get bread onto people's tables, roofs over their heads, to give money to rich people so that it can trickle down to those who actually need it. Yeah, I'm starting to ramble. And okay, social democracy is a bit of a mess. Yeah, I do not consider myself a social democrat. Actually, an interesting historical point that I want to point out. Was it? There's a YouTuber. Actually, I'll go check what it is. Sorry, you lost the music, but I wanna check that YouTube. It's an anarchist YouTuber. Zoe something. Damn it. I'm not sure about the pronouns, so I'll go with they, them. They talked. I watched a video last night of them talking to Vosh about differences of opinion about things, and they're an historian and just submitted their doctoral dissertation actually about the history of anarchism and that sort of thing. So, an expert. And where is it? Anyway, originally the term social democrats was like revolutionary leftists. Zoe Baker. Just a sec, I'll link it in chat. Anarcho-Pack is the channel. Now, apparently Onkoloinen beat me to the punch with the name. But yeah, and it was an interesting discussion. There's a whole lot to be said about parliamentarism and electoralism and that sort of thing. And should I? Maybe I should. But yeah, originally Social Democrats were like revolutionary, and but it's largely through electoralism, the focus on electoral politics and so on, that it's become diluted, that the means inherent in trying to change the system from within sort of just sweeps you into the system, and therefore social democracy has come to mean this sort of capitalism with silk gloves, or silk gauntlets, one could say. But yeah, I highly recommend that channel. A recent find. So I'm not sure about all the content, but what I've seen so far has been good. Very intriguing. Yeah, I want to go on I'll go on a rant about electoralism for a while. But then I will close down the stream and eat and maybe get some rest. But yeah, there's been this big brouhaha, especially with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders and so on. These people who have branded themselves socialists, as opposed to social democrats, actual socialists, usually call themselves democratic socialists, who take part in elections and parliamentary politics. And I'm not sure if that is an apt term for what they do in the States, but anywho, work within the system. And in leftist circles, they are maligned, quite frankly, in terms that I do not think are fair, terms that are extreme. Fair is I'll get to that. but they are derided very strongly. Okay, part of it is probably the usual thing that if someone is popular, then if you're in the opposition or in a subculture, as it were, then you're not gonna like him. Sort of like the liberals like them too much, so I can't. Some of it is that, like I for one, am guilty of that. It's something that we need to be aware of, that it does affect us. We are fucking human after all. That's the whole fucking point, that we're all human and faulty beings. And a lot of it is that they are ineffectual, that they can't get their reforms through, that they don't really have an influence in the system, that they don't have actual power. And I don't think that's incorrect. I do. I'm not sure if it's entirely correct though. That those are details that are arguable, because do they influence some like bill or whatever? It goes into the cabinet stuff that we simply do not know about, which is a problem of the system, not of the people. Okay. But they are very much maligned. Also for enabling the system, for legitimizing a system that is against us, against the interests of the people, of working people. And maybe that could be the case, that they are legitimizing that thing. But no, here's the thing. That doesn't matter. The system doesn't need to ask for legitimization from us. It's the dominant thing. It is as legitimate as it wants to be. It doesn't have that worry. So it's a drop in the ocean. Now, I see that there is a benefit, and I do credit Bernie Sanders, AOC, and similar very visible figures, regardless of whether or not they're socialist, if they actually ever manage to get any socialist agenda through, with legitimizing the term socialist and socialism. That is so bloody important. A lot of people seem to forget that in most of society, we cannot talk about socialism. Socialism, to many people, is a tyrannical system where there are people called socialists who have these caps on, and they have pistols that they execute people with. And that is socialism. Now that's a problem. Like, how can we talk about socialist policy if the term itself is considered criminal incorrectly against actual historical evidence, and looking at the actual theses that the Stalin has a lot to answer for here. And having your Bernie Sanderses and AOCs talk about socialism, whether or not you actually consider them socialist, and giving them giving the thing a human face, making it a thing that you can read about. Karl Marx, Engels, they all the others, they haven't gone away. They still exist. You can still access those theories and thoughts and ideas. But before now, most people didn't want to have anything to do with that. They wouldn't read Karl Marx any more than they would read Mein Kampf. And that's a hell of a difference. Also, I don't see it as a problem that socialists go into office and try to influence things from within the system, as long as that's not all we do. That's like the difference. It seems to me that there is that we are so stuck in this electoralist and parliamentarist mindset that we consider automatically that anyone in public office is a leader and should be a leader. Sorry. And that's no, that it doesn't have to be that way. They're leaders only if we want them to be, if we allow them to be. Of course, they have exposure, so they are perceived as leaders, but inside the movement, if we can call what we are that yet, they don't have to be. I'd see them as support, and that would be the healthiest thing to consider. That they are support. They are there to debuff the opposition. They're not there to like do the thing to bring them down. Of course, that would be ridiculous. You can't make a system bring itself down. But what they can do is create room for us to maneuver by influencing the system. Debuff the system so that we can actually get some change done. There is power in the system, and it would be foolish for us not to use our access to that. I've heard it said that don't let the liberals lead. Yeah, fine. Sure. Yeah. That would be a bad idea. That individualists and people who do not have a clear view of the principles involved should lead. But they can support. And also, like, just a matter of optics. Let's us assume for a moment that AOC and Bernie Sanders and the Justice Democrats, whoever, that they are as red as they come, that they are as socialist as you could get. They have contracts. They have made promises to their constituents, that they protect them. Should they toss their constituents in front of the bus? Should they break their word to gain temporary advantage, or just to make a show? That smacks me a bit of opportunism. And also, we are asking them to abandon their communities, in that sense. Also, an important point. If you're sitting in Finland, you're in no position to tell anyone, any person of color in the United States, what they should do. That their tactics are invalid. That they're doing the wrong thing. Because what the fuck? You have no stakes there in comparison. Okay, US politics affects us all. But still, you're not getting shot in the street. They are. So it is arrogant to claim that we know better. That we know their material conditions better than they do themselves. It could be argued that it's racist and colonialist and whatever as well, but I don't think it's actually that. It doesn't have to be. It's just okay, colonialist maybe. But anyway, yeah. As I said, that's a ramble. Yeah. My thoughts are going fuzzy. But I personally, at least at time of filming, I subscribe to a diversity of tactics. That we do need. We need strikes. We need demonstrations. We need direct action, building dual power structures. We need all that, but we also need people within the system. Whether it's to collect intelligence, to find out the weaknesses in the system, to debuff it, so that the so that the attackers can sort of take it down, damage dealers can take it down. Because otherwise the damage dealers will be twisting in the wind. And our odds of not only victory or, well, change, progression, survival, they go down. So if someone finds their passion in electoral politics for the leftist cause, let them do it, yeah. You don't have to follow them, and you shouldn't, probably. Because the system does seduce and pollute, in a sense. It does... What you do affects the way you think. And also, if you are successful in politics, if you gain any power in politics, that means that your personal class interest will be different. Because you are now in the elite. And it is excessive to expect someone to go against that constant class pressure all the time and maintain the integrity needed for a leader.
Not a leader. Support. It's a support role. But yeah. There it is. We're all human. We should treat each other as humans. Especially comrades. Even if we're wrong. Or they're wrong. Because, let's face it, the vast majority of us have been really, really wrong about these things for a very long time. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a suitable place to sign off before I start rambling on another topic. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to know when I'm streaming again, then do follow. I would like that very much. Thank you for all your input, and the chat wasn't nearly as thirsty this time. Okay, Martha did go in that direction a bit, which is nice. But we'll see what next time brings. Yeah. Now for some. Oh! By the way, these videos will end up on YouTube as well. The link to the playlist is in somewhere on my channel. I don't actually know how to use Twitch. I only know how to stream onto it. The other than that, the platform is just sort of. But yeah. Thank you. May you be a comrade or otherwise. Thanks for watching, and have a good, pleasant time of day. Bye bye.